Welcome students. Today we will discuss a very important topic of international trade, that is modern theory or Hecksher Ohlin theory of international trade. But first of all, we have to discuss why international trade takes place between two countries. Why two countries indulge in international trade? What are the benefits of international trade? And what are the two theories which discuss why international trade takes place? Because international trade is beneficial to both the countries because they exchange goods according to their needs, according to their requirements. So that's why there are two important theories which we discuss. Basically, first theory is known as classical or comparative cost advantage theory, which shows if there is a comparative difference in cost, and that's why international trade takes place between two countries. But it does not shows what are the factors which are affecting international trade. Why there are difference between two countries' cost of production. So for this, there is a modern theory which is known as Hecksher Ohlin theory of international trade, which shows that it reveals actually the causes responsible for differences in the international trade. So today we will discuss this important theory, that is modern theory, which is propounded by Swedish economist Heckscher in 1919. Later on, it was improved by his disciple, mainly student of Heckscher, which is Bertil Ohlin in 1924. And then later on, he wrote a book known as International and Inter-Regional Trade in 1933, in which he reveals the causes responsible for international trade or causes responsible for difference in the international trade. So that's why there is a difference in factor endowments among different countries of the world. According to Heckscher and Ohlin theory, there is a difference not only in their cost of production, but the reason why there is a difference in their cost of production. So according to Ohlin, there is a difference in factor endowments among different countries of the world. Then the main causes of difference in comparative cost is the difference in factor endowments or factor intensities. So today we will discuss that. But first of all, we have to discuss assumptions of this theory, which is very important. This theory relates to two countries producing two goods, and there are two factors. It means it has a model of 2 into 2 into 2. So that is very important model. Then some same production function for each country exists. So there is a same production function for each country. Then there is a perfect competition in all markets. Then there is a free trade exists between two countries. So there is no restriction attached by the government. There is a free trade. Then technique of production is same. So that is very important that technique in between two countries is also same. There is a lack of transport cost. Yes, lack of transport cost is there. Factor endowments are different in two countries. So this is very important. If factor endowments are different, it means one country may be abundant in labor and second country is abundant in capital. That may happen. So these are factor endowments. Then goods can be classified on the basis of factor intensity. Now this is again a very important thing to remember, that there is a difference between factor intensity. Those countries which are having more capital, they will be producing capital intensive technique, capital intensive goods. But those countries which are abundant in labor, they will be producing labor intensive goods. So according to this theory, this is very important thing to remember. So these are the basically assumptions of these theories. Then there is another theory or another thing, the definition by Ohlin. Now, according to Ohlin, international trade is a special case of inter-regional trade. So this is again same thing happens. According to Ohlin, international trade is a special case of inter-regional trade. That's why they do not contradict comparative cost, classical theory, which comes before this theory. So they don't contradict. They say international trade is a special case of inter-regional trade. And then according to Hecksher, there are following causes for difference in comparative cost. Why there is a difference in comparative cost? We have already discussed. Mainly, first is difference in factor endowments, and then there is a difference in factor intensities. Factor endowments means how much labor or how much capital has been used, and factor intensities means they are producing capital intensive good or labor intensive goods. Okay, right? Now, this theory also explained on the basis of two criteria. When we explain this theory, we have to explain these two topics, the two criteria under which this theory takes place. The first is a price criteria, and second is a physical criteria. Now we have to discuss both of these criteria. Now, price criteria of factor abundance or scarcity. First of all, we will discuss that. First is price criteria of factor abundance or scarcity. So here we assume that there are two countries, because this is the assumption. Two countries producing two goods and they are having two factors of production. So here we are taking two countries, Germany and India, and then there are two factors of production, capital and labor, and they are producing two goods, watches and shirts. This you have to remember. Okay, Germany and India producing two goods, watches and shirts with the help of labor and capital. Okay, now when we discuss price criteria of factor abundance or scarcity, so we have given this ratio, Germany and India. So see PK, price of capital in Germany over price of labor in Germany, which is less than price of capital over price of labor in India. It means price of capital in Germany is less than price of capital in India. So this basically shows that the price or cost of production for capital will be lesser in Germany. So they will be hoping to produce more goods which are related with the capital, which are using more capital. So so this ratio is less than India. Okay. Then we discuss. We have to discuss this diagram also. This is very important diagram in which you can see in figure A. You can see on x-axis we are having labor, and on y-axis we are having capital. So here, if you can just see what we want to discuss here, there are two type of things. Number one, cost lines known as isocurrents, and isocurrents are equal product curves, and isocost lines are there. So I want to just tell you that AB, now you can see A, B here. AB is isocost line. Okay, isocost line in which country? Germany. Now this A shows and this B shows that this is the isocost line in Germany. And below that CD, which is a parallel. Okay, so it means this is also in Germany, but it shows a lower cost of production. So AB and CD, they are isocost lines in Germany. Okay, so it means their ratio will also be same, like OA upon OB is equal to OC upon OD. So that will be same, the ratio will be same. Similarly, if we will discuss cost lines in India, so you can see that P1, this P1 and Q1, you can see P1 and Q1. This is a cost curve in India. P2 over P2 and Q2, This is also a price line or a cost line in India. So OP1 over OQ1 is equal to OP2 over OQ2. So their ratio will also be same. So these are iso cost lines. Okay. And these curves, see S, S, W, W, these are isoquants which represent equal production curves. Okay, so WW curve or WW isoquant shows 100 watches, equal production. They are producing equal production 100 watches. Similarly, SS represent 100 shirts has been produced by these countries. They are producing either 100 watches or 100 shirts. Now, if we will take case of Germany first, you take example of Germany first. Okay, now Germany is producing at these 2 points H and J, and we have to see which at which point they are on equilibrium on both the points, but on which point they will produce. Okay, see at J point they are producing at J point they are producing 100 shirts, but their input is OF capital, see OF capital, OF capital and OM1 labor has been employed. Okay, now you have to remember that Germany can't employ more labor. Okay, so at this point at OM1, more labor has been employed. But if they produce watches at H point, so their labor will be less. OM, not OM1. So there is a less labor and same capital, OF capital. It means if they want to produce watches, they are having lesser cost of production. Okay, understand? Now understand at this point H, Germany will be more happy to produce goods. Okay, because they are employing lesser laborer, OM labor and OF capital. Okay, but at J point, more labor has been employed. So they will not be producing shirts. Okay, similar is the case with India. Now, if you can see with India, if India is producing watches at R point, they will be equilibrium at R point. So they are employing ON capital. Okay, ON capital, but they are employing OG labor. See, OG labor. It means that much labor has been employed, OG and ON capital has been employed. But if they produce shirts at E1 point, if they produce at E1 point, so lesser capital has been employed, not ON, or rather OT capital will be employed and same labor, G labor will be employed. So they will be producing at E1. India will be producing at E1 and Germany will be producing at point H. So you should remember this, कि Germany will produce watches, 100 watches, and India will produce 100 shirts, and they will be more happy, as well as they will be producing at economic rate. So that's why this price criteria shows that how much factor of production has been used by both the countries. Now, in the second criteria, which is known as physical criteria. Now remember, price criteria deals with the price of factor of production, but the physical criteria deals with the physical quantity of that factor of production. So here again, if you see that Germany, capital in Germany over labor in Germany is greater than capital in India over labor in India. It means capital in Germany is in abundance, is much more than in India. So Germany will be happy to employ more capital in comparison to India. So this we can see in this figure B also, where we can see that on OX-axis we have represented shirts, and on this y-axis we can see watches. Now you can see that there are production possibility curves, two production possibility curves. One is GG1. GG1 is Germany's production possibility curve, and II1 is India's production possibility curve. Now this G represent that Germany is producing more watches. See, more watches. And this I1 shows that India is producing more shirts. More shirts. So that's why this type of production possibility curves has been drawn, has been there, because Germany is more capable of producing watches and India is more capable of producing shirts. So these production possibility curves are there. Now here P1 and P2 these are again a price lines, or you can say a cost lines, budget line maybe. We cannot go beyond that. So that's why this P1 this cost line is related with Germany, okay, and this P2 is related with India. P1 is a price line or cost line of Germany, and P2 is a cost line of India. Okay, now you can see this GG1 this point at P1, this is at equilibrium at E point. So Germany is in equilibrium at this point, and India is in equilibrium at F point. So Germany is more capable of producing watches, and India is more capable of producing shirts. So this E point represent equilibrium for Germany, and I1 represent equilibrium for India. So this OR curve represent expansion curve, or that path at which equilibrium is maintained. At this point, both countries can produce at equal rates. So this curve represent physical criteria, or how much physical quantity can be employed by both the countries. So when we discuss this Hecksher Ohlin theory, then you have to discuss these two. Number one, price criteria. First of all, you have to explain price criteria, and then you have to explain a physical criteria. So after explaining these two criteria, it will be very easy to understand this Hecksher Ohlin theory. Okay, so this is very clear with this these two topics. Then there are some points. Now here we have already discussed what Hecksher Ohlin theory wants to say. Now, according to Hecksher, there is a capital abundance in Germany. We are taking example of Germany and India. So capital is more in Germany. So Germany is producing capital intensive goods like watches, and India is producing shirts because they are having abundant in labor. So they are producing shirts. So that's why. So this theory represent that why because of these differences in factor endowments and factor intensities, why these two countries are producing those goods which are they are more capable of. Okay, so this theory represent that. But here once again, after we examine these theories, then there is a point where factor price equality comes. Now, what is factor price equality? Factor price equality shows what will happen. Germany will produce capital intensive goods and India will produce labor intensive goods. So what will happen? Germany will import more labor intensive goods, and India will import more capital intensive goods, or they will import more capital. India will import more capital, and Germany will import more labor. So what will happen to their wages, factors of production? their cost, what will happen to their cost? If you take example of India, now India is importing capital, right? Capital is already costly in India, but when it comes in more abundance in India, so what will happen? Cost of capital comes down. Cost of capital comes down. Similarly, if Germany is importing more labor, okay, there is a scarcity of labor in Germany. The wages are very at a higher level. Okay, so what will happen if they will import more labor? So as the labor comes, as the supply increases, the wages will come down. In Germany, wages will come down, but in India, cost of capital, price of capital comes down. Okay, so at one point, price of capital in India will be equalized. Okay, after some time, price of capital will be equalized. Similarly, in Germany, wages of labor will equalize, will come down and will equalize, will be same. So that is called factor price equality according to Hecksher Ohlin theory. That may happen in these two countries. Okay, so this is one point. Then, according to modern economist, Ohlin's theory is more superior to classical theory. Why it happens, or why it is there? It is because of several assumptions have been taken by Ohlin, which has not been taken by classical theory. So Ohlin's theory is more superior because it tells the real difference. It shows there is not a only comparative difference in cost. It tells, or it just gives us an idea why there is a difference. Why there is difference in cost of production, factor endowments, factor intensities. Okay, these points has been discussed by Ohlin only. Okay, that's why Ohlin's theory is more superior, is more good in comparison to classical theory. Okay, even these points of criticism can also shows that Hecksher Ohlin theory has some criticism given by modern economists. But even then, this Hecksher Ohlin theory is much more comparatively at a better side than classical theory. Now, what are the criticism of this Hecksher Ohlin theory? This theory gives unrealistic assumptions. Okay, it gives several assumptions that two countries producing two goods, having two factors of production. But according to modern economists, there are more than two countries. There are more than two factors. There are more than two goods produced by the countries which are related with the international trade. So they are unrealistic assumptions. Then another point is there, that is Leontief's paradox. This is a very important thing. This is given by Nobel laureate Leontief. Now he gives his input-output model. In the US, he gives he just gave a case study has been discussed on a different industries, and the result of those input-output model in America shows that in America, which is rich in capital, is importing capital-intensive goods. What should happen? That in US, because they are abundant in capital, they should export more capital goods. But they are importing more capital goods. Okay, so this is the contradiction given by Leontief. That's why this is known as Leontief's paradox, according to his input-output model. Then there is this theory is also a static theory, which shows does not shows a comparative difference. Then, according to this theory, the factors are not homogeneous. This theory represents that factors of production, they are, or production techniques, they are same, according to Hecksher Ohlin theory. But the modern economist shows that these factors are not same, not always same. Production techniques are not always same, so they are not same. So this theory has been criticized because of that. Now, even they are saying that there are constant cost, the constant taste, even those does not remain same. Then limited explanation. This theory does not give explanation of all the factors, why there is a difference in factor endowments or why there are difference in other factors. So that's why this theory has been criticized by modern economists. But even then, beside these criticism, even then, this theory has been known as a superior theory of international trade because it shows the real picture. This is a more realistic theory. That's why this theory has edge over classical theory, over comparative theory. So factor intensities, factor endowments are the main cause of difference in cost of production, and that's why two countries exchange goods between them, and that's why this theory is much more weightage in international trade. Thank you.